Okay, so this LinkedIn article you sent over about the market for technical writing
Yeah.
really caught my eye, too.
Yeah.
It's one of those fields you don't always hear a lot about,
Right.
but it's seriously booming right now.
It
Like the
is.
quiet giant of the job market.
Uh-huh.
And you know what's even cooler?
That.
You don't need to be a coding whiz to break into this world.
That's so true.
Yeah.
The article really nailed it when it said there's this misconception that technical writing is all about knowing complex software inside and out.
Yeah.
Like you have to be a programmer.
Right.
But it's really about making the complex understandable.
Totally.
It's a field that values clear writing, good structure, and the ability to connect with your audience no matter how tech-savvy they are.
You know what struck me was how the article positions technical writers as the translators of the digital age.
Yeah.
Like, they're the bridge between the tech world and everyone else.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty powerful way to think about their role.
Uh-huh.
And speaking of important roles, let's dive into these market stats.
So,
The article mentions some pretty impressive job growth numbers.
yeah.
Did those jump out at you too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not just a temporary spike either.
Right.
This reflects a larger trend.
Okay.
The article cites a projected growth of 7% in technical writing jobs from 2022 to 2032.
Wow.
And get this,
Okay.
we're talking 10–11% growth between now and 2026.
Wow.
That's huge.
That's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
It's not just hype. This field is clearly in demand. What do you think is driving this surge?
I think it's pretty straightforward. Technology is evolving incredibly fast.
Yeah.
Every new gadget, software update, AI tool that pops up,
Right.
all of it needs clear, concise documentation right now.
Right.
And that's where technical writers come in.
Speaking of AI, the article mentioned that specifically along with automation.
Right.
It's interesting because at first glance, you might think those things would actually replace technical writers.
You'd think so, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually creating more opportunities.
Interesting.
Think about it. Somebody have to write the manuals for these AI tools. Explain how they work in plain English.
Right.
And make sure users aren't totally lost in a sea of technical jargon.
It's like AI might be able to generate some basic content,
Sure.
but it takes a human to make it sing, to make it actually useful for people like you and me.
And the author of this LinkedIn article, Curt Robbins, made a
Yeah.
great point about this.
Okay.
He said that while AI can assist in generating content, it also creates this whole new niche for writers who are skilled at curating, refining, and optimizing that AI-generated content.
Okay.
Basically making sure it's accurate and engaging for real people.
So it becomes less about man versus machine and more about humans and AI working together to create something even better.
Exactly.
I like that.
And this actually ties into another interesting point the article made.
Okay.
The expanding scope of where technical writers are needed these days.
Uh-huh.
It's not just about IT departments anymore.
Right. I was going to say the article touched on this too, how valuable technical writing skills are across different industries. It's not just about being stuck in a tech company basement, which I think some people might picture.
You're right. That image definitely needs an update.
Yeah,
Every industry relies on technology now in some way.
that's true.
Even Curt, the author, talked about his own career journey.
Okay.
He's worked in aerospace, banking, biotech.
Wow.
The list goes on.
Really?
He even mentioned agriculture, which I thought was fascinating.
Wow. Cybersecurity for a bank 1 week, sustainable farming tech the next?
Right.
Sign me up. Okay, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but that variety is seriously cool.
Yeah,
And it highlights how transferable these skills really are.
definitely.
You're not pigeonholed into one specific industry, which is a huge plus in today's job market.
You got it.
And speaking of valuable things, let's talk about the lifestyle perks of being a technical writer. The article made it sound surprisingly flexible.
Yeah,
Flexible is good,
it is.
especially these days when everyone's trying to find that ideal work-life balance.
Right.
What did the article highlight about that?
Well, it definitely emphasized contracting and freelancing
Okay.
as a major perk, especially with remote work being so prevalent now.
Yeah.
I think that resonates with a lot of people who crave flexibility and variety in their work.
Right.
And you're right. It doesn't hurt that you can work in your PJs if you want to.
Okay, but hold on.
Yeah.
Before you make us all jealous with visions of working from a beach somewhere,
Right.
let's dig a little deeper.
Okay.
Is it really all sunshine and roses?
Right.
I mean, freelancing can be a bit unpredictable, right?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
It's not always easy.
Yeah.
And it definitely takes a certain personality type to thrive as a freelancer.
Yeah.
But the article made it clear that the potential rewards in terms of both income and lifestyle can be significant.
Okay.
And remember, freelancing isn't the only option.
Right.
There are tons of full-time in-house technical writing jobs out there too,
Okay.
many of which offer remote or hybrid work arrangements.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah,
It's good to have options.
it is.
But let's say someone is interested in that freelance route,
Yeah.
maybe even working from a beach one week.
Sure.
What kind of projects might they actually be tackling?
Well, that's where the variety part gets really interesting.
Right.
One week, you could be creating an online help portal for a new software application.
Okay.
The next, you could be developing training materials for a cutting-edge medical device.
Yeah.
You could even find yourself writing technical documentation for a company that's, say, revolutionizing sustainable farming practices.
Wow. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
That's the kind of variety that would keep me engaged, for sure.
Yeah.
But with all this talk about cutting-edge tech and constantly evolving industries,
Yeah.
how does a technical writer keep up?
That's where continuous learning comes in.
Right.
It's not just a buzzword in this field, it's essential.
Yeah.
And you're right, it can feel a little daunting at times.
Yeah.
Robbins really emphasized that in the article too.
Mm-hmm.
The need to constantly be updating your skills and knowledge.
He called it a necessity,
Yeah.
even for seasoned professionals.
Yeah.
Did you find that a bit intimidating?
I think it's more exciting than intimidating, honestly. It's like learning a new language
Yeah.
or picking up a musical instrument.
Right.
It keeps your brain sharp and engaged.
Yeah.
Plus, there's always something new and interesting to learn in the tech world.
So it's more like a fun challenge than a chore.
Right.
I like that perspective.
Yeah.
And speaking of challenges,
Yeah.
the article mentioned certifications.
Right.
Are those really necessary in this field?
They're not always required,
Okay.
but they can definitely give you an edge.
Okay.
Think of them like little badges of honor that show employers you're on top of your game.
Yeah.
Plus, they can help you command higher rates as a freelancer.
It's like learning the secret handshake for the technical writing club, right?
Exactly.
You mentioned some specific things to look out for, too,
Yeah.
like structured content, XML, and Markdown. Those are some big words.
Yeah, those are some of the key words that will make your resume stand out in a sea of applicants.
Yeah.
And don't worry, you don't need to be a tech wizard to grasp these concepts.
I was just about to ask if you could break those down a bit.
Sure.
I'm all about making things clear and understandable, remember?
So, structured content is a way of writing and organizing information that makes it easier to use and reuse across different platforms.
Okay.
XML, or extensible markup language, is a tool that's often used in structured content creation.
Okay.
And Markdown is basically a super simple way to format text that's become the industry standard.
Okay.
You'll pick it up in no time.
Okay. That actually makes a lot of sense. It
Yeah.
seems like having those technical tools in your belt would be super useful, especially in a fast-paced field like this.
Yeah.
But let's get practical for a second.
Okay.
Let's say someone listening to this is thinking,
Uh-huh.
okay, this all sounds amazing, but where do I even begin?
Yeah.
What would you say is a good first step?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is.
Honestly, I think the best first step is to just dive in and start building your skills.
Okay.
There are so many amazing online resources and courses available these days.
It's like learning anything new. You don't need to become an expert overnight.
Right.
Just start exploring and see what piques your interest.
Exactly.
Were there any resources in particular that the article mentioned?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Robbins specifically called out platforms like LinkedIn Learning,
Okay.
Coursera, and Udemy
Oh, yeah.
as great places to find a huge range of technical writing courses from beginner to advanced.
Cool.
And a lot of them offer free introductory courses,
Oh, nice.
so you can get a taste before diving in completely.
I love a good free trial run.
Yeah.
That takes some of the pressure off, for sure.
Right.
But let's say someone's taken a few courses, they're feeling good about their writing skills,
Yeah.
and they're starting to think about actually finding work.
Okay.
What then?
Well, along with building your skills, it's also smart to start connecting with other technical writers,
Okay.
even if it's just online.
Networking.
Yeah.
In this digital age.
I know, right?
You mean actually talking to humans?
Sometimes.
I'm only half kidding.
Yeah.
But seriously, I can see how valuable that could be. It's easy to get stuck in your own little bubble when you're learning something new.
Right.
Where do you even find these elusive technical writers?
That's a good question.
Asking for a friend, of course.
Well, your friend is in luck.
Okay, good.
There are tons of online communities that are like gold mines for connecting with other writers, asking questions, and learning from people who've been there and done that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
It's like having a virtual mentor on speed dial.
exactly.
Give us the goods. What are some of these online hotspots?
Well, LinkedIn groups are a great place to start.
Okay.
There are also tons of relevant subreddits on Reddit,
Oh, yeah.
and even Twitter chats can be surprisingly helpful.
Cool.
And don't underestimate the power of just reaching out to people whose work you admire.
That's true.
You'd be surprised how many people are willing to share their experiences and offer advice.
This has been eye-opening. So to wrap up our deep dive into the world of technical writing,
Yeah.
it's clearly not just about manuals anymore.
No.
It's about being a communication chameleon,
Right.
taking complex tech stuff and making it make sense for the rest of us.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like a field with massive potential right now.
Yeah.
Especially for people who love to learn, adapt,
Right.
and maybe even rock those PJs while they work every once in a while.
Who doesn't love a good PJ day?
He doesn't.
Right.
But on a more serious note, before we sign off, any final words of wisdom for our listeners who might be feeling inspired to explore this whole technical writing thing?
Just to stay curious.
Okay.
The world of technology is always changing, which means there's always something new to learn as a technical writer.
Right.
Don't be afraid to embrace the challenge. Step outside your comfort zone and never stop exploring.
I love that.
Yeah,
Embrace the challenge, stay curious, and maybe perfect your go-to work-from-home coffee order while you're at it.
exactly.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.